sound of a keyboard. An angry keyboard. You found me. I didn't think you'd find me like this. Look, man, I just got out the shower. I'm waiting for dinner, alright? Please, just let me live for another... Well, I mean, I don't really have any issue with that. Yo, put the gun down! What is up, guys? This is KJ, aka Rakurai Network, bringing you guys a brand new video today. Caulifla and Kale at this point in time are very controversial characters. The Universe 6 Saiyans in general have all come under scrutiny, but my thoughts on them are overwhelmingly positive. For one, we know that each group of Saiyans seems to come with their own scale. Hybrid Saiyans have way more potential than the pure breed Saiyans for one, and their main barrier isn't power-oriented, but overcoming the more emotional human side of their characters. Gohan, for example, had to eventually learn that the thing holding him back the most was his humanity. It made him realize that to defeat the Malevolent, he had to eventually let go of these feelings of remorse over hurting others, and had to embrace his Saiyan pride. This creates two sides of the exact same coin. I made a video a long time ago called Quick Progression in Dragon Ball, is it good or bad writing? And in that video, I basically talked about these characters attaining these quick levels of power incredibly fast. And I brought up Goten and Trunks, I brought up Caulifla and Kale, I brought up all those different situations where these characters were at these points where they were just able to attain high levels of power with little to no difficulty. And that presented a major issue to a lot of people, but I want to tell you guys right now I have no issue with that type of progression in a Dragon Ball series or in any series for that matter. But then you have the Saiyans from other universes. We didn't know much about them, right? But the one thing that we do know, and it's been very subtle throughout the series, is that they evolved in a different way. We briefly discovered through both the anime and manga that the Universe 6 Saiyans evolved past the point of having tails. Now, if you know much about biological evolution theory, you know that depending on the species, one minor change in their biological structure can have unprecedented effects. Saiyans without tails is a bigger change than you may think. Their rule, inherently, is that they have more potential than the Universe 7 Saiyans altogether. That is their main rule. Now, if they're on the same playing field as the Universe 7 Hybrid Saiyans, then that could very well be an argument there. But the main thing to bear in mind is that the Universe 6 Saiyans have very, very different genetic structure. They grew past the point of having tails, first of all. Remember this as well. The tail was basically where a lot of their power could somewhat be concentrated. And if you grabbed a Saiyan's tail back in the day, mainly with Wrath, because after that point, the Saiyans trained themselves to not face this weakness when someone grabs their tail. But it completely just hindered and paralyzed Raditz when Goku grabbed his tail. That's a very big statement right there, and I think that carries over. Remember, they didn't get their tails cut off apparently. They apparently evolved past them and grew out of them like growing out of diaper usage. Another point to bring up is that many talk about an overall lack of struggle in their stories and their ascensions of power. The funny thing is that we still see the same struggle with Kaba, at least in a condensed, more rushed way. He still requires some sort of an emotional trigger to transform, both in his instances of going Super Saiyan as well as Super Saiyan 2 against Frieza. Let's touch on this initial Super Saiyan transformation for a second though. There's the point where Vegeta is basically threatening Kaba, saying he's going to destroy the planet and things like that if he doesn't decide to get angry and show off his full power. And by him saying these things, Kaba immediately just plunges up and just goes Super Saiyan right then, with no difficulty, upon hearing someone say that they're going to kill their loved ones. Hearing it. The female Saiyans switched this up entirely, particularly Caulifla. Kale still required an emotional trigger of some kind to make herself go Berserker, and she ended up understanding Super Saiyan via having to first calm the power of the Berserker inside of her that was fueled by calling herself weak. she is a very different character than Broly ever was. And the other thing to bear in mind is that what her transformation is not Legendary Super Saiyan. That means that Kale has a different power class, a different identity of her own there. So, a lot of people were saying that the power scale in episode 100 was really, really just bad and made people hate the character of Kale all the more. I don't think so. A lot of the bias that I saw about Kale's Berserker form was based off of Broly's Legendary Super Saiyan form, and I just don't really think that's fair, per se. I think it's very important to bear it with an open mind and to go in thinking, okay, these characters are different. We need to bear that in mind, and Yo, put the gun down. We've talked about this. I'm already explaining.
Caulifla was just able to get Super Saiyan, get Super Saiyan 2, and move on with little to no difficulty. What I think people forget is that these three Saiyans encompass the three different ways to go Super Saiyan. They didn't all just suddenly learn it. Kale, due to how lacking in confidence she is, seems to already have an emotional issue there. Kaba is more seasoned, and Caulifla is like the student who learns all the information 10 minutes before a test, but by the time the final exam comes around, that being Goku, she's still powerless, even when fused with her best friend. More on that in a second, though. And to think that most of this controversy began because of back tingles, which I also have no issue with whatsoever. It was their way of understanding the forms.
I'm saying that these Saiyans, their main magic comes from their transformations. That is what they meant to this series. And if anything, it shows us that the Universe 7 Saiyans are still superior fighters regardless, even compared to these other Saiyans. You can study the night before a test and fully understand the material, but then by the time the final exam comes around, what do you know? That's basically what Caulifla and Kale were in their situation of. They learned these transformations so fast, but by the time it really came down to it, even after fusing, even after attaining this level of power that was just completely unprecedented by any of the fan base really, the veteran fighters still win. What you have to understand is that their character arc wasn't about them, and I don't think that's a problem. Their character arc was showing, even compared with other Saiyans, Universe 7 has something about it. It's fighting prowess, it's veteran fighters that just can't be taught by someone who can just learn all these transformations. At that moment, when Kefla was fighting against Goku, they clearly just were not enough to come into comparison with him. When it comes to Kaba, he is the more veteran, the more old school type of fighter, but at the same time, he still faced those exact same problems. He was able to get that transformation, but when it came to Frieza, he had no chance. Whether you like the Universe 6 Saiyans or not, that's fine. It's completely fine. But a lot of depending on what you think their writing was like, whether you think their writing was good or bad, a lot of that depends upon what you expect from Dragon Ball and what perspective you took their character arc. I took their character arc knowing that by the end of the day, they're not going to be able to compete with the Universe 7 Saiyans. Their entire character arc was showing us that just learning all these rapid fire transformations and all these rapid techniques and such, even using the ultimate cheat code of fusion, you cannot beat these veteran fighters, which has been a very prevalent theme throughout the entire tournament, really. What Kefla, Kale, Caulifla, and Kaba teach us as fans of Universe 7 Saiyans is that, sure, you can learn all the transformations in the world, but you aren't going to beat the Universe 7 Saiyans that have been struggling, have been going through all these difficulties their entire lives. They're not going to be able to beat that. I'm not going to try to force an opinion on you guys. I never have been that way, but my final verdict on the Universe 6 Saiyans is that I love them all to death. These are easily some of my favorite characters that Dragon Ball Super has brought in thus far. Compared to what the expectation was, I was very greatly surprised, and I had a great time with them while they were here, and I really, really wish they'd come back at some point. But we just don't know yet. We don't know. So, with that being said, guys, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please be sure to like the video, comment below your thoughts, your final thoughts on Kale and Caulifla, and do you think their character arc should have related to them, or again, showing the superiority of Universe 7's fighters? Please be sure to share the video out with people that you know and people that you don't know, but that you just want to harass with my videos, in which case, thank you. And please subscribe to the channel if you are new. And little asterisk point here, please be sure to hit that bell next to the subscribe button so you can be notified of every video that I make, because for some reason, YouTube is not sharing my videos to Twitter like it should. with that being said, guys, love you all so much. I hope you all have an amazing day. Don't let anyone change who you are. And God bless.